Hey Raiders Nation. Today we've got a ton to cover about our silver and black heading into the 2026 season. And trust me, you do not want to miss a single second of this. The big question on everyone's mind is about Pete Carroll and his future with the Raiders. Rumors have been flying, sources are talking, and while nothing has been officially announced yet, everything points to a major change coming. Last year, we all remember how things unfolded strangely, and sometimes organizations make moves that leave fans scratching their heads. The way the Raiders handled Antonio Pierce's situation was a prime example. He speaks to the media one day, and shortly after, he's gone. That's why it's crucial for us as fans to stay grounded, but also aware that the organization is clearly signaling a shift at the top. Black Monday is in full swing, and although no official word has come down on Pete Carroll, all the speculation, all the sources, and all the patterns suggest he will not be returning as head coach. At the same time, discussions about potential replacements are heating up, and some of the names being thrown around are incredibly intriguing. Brian Flores, currently the defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, is one of the top candidates. He brings an aggressive defensive mindset, a coach who knows how to put pressure on opponents and adjust strategies in high-stakes situations. Pairing him with Brian Daboll, who made a name for himself developing Josh Allen into one of the league's premier quarterbacks, could give the Raiders the kind of strategic edge they need. Daboll is not being considered for a head coaching role, but his offensive expertise and quarterback development skills are undeniable. While Fernando Mendoza, our potential #1 overall pick, isn't Josh Allen, there's an exciting opportunity to build around a young quarterback with a solid offensive scheme and a defense that can create game-changing moments. The combination of Flores and Daboll could be exactly what the Raiders need to establish balance and competitiveness in 2026. It's not just coaching that's on the table, though. The team's draft position and roster management are equally important as the offseason gears up. Thanks to the victory over the Kansas City Chiefs, the Raiders secure the #1 overall pick, which is huge for shaping the future of the franchise. However, that one also means that in later rounds, the pick order shifts, which changes the dynamics for potential trades and roster improvements. In Round 2, we hold the 36th pick, Round 3, pick 67, and the pattern continues through all 7 rounds, giving us 10 selections overall. With free agency, the salary cap, and the draft, this is a pivotal moment for the Raiders. There's an opportunity to bring in talent to complement Mendoza and address other roster gaps. While the road ahead is challenging, these moves set a foundation for growth and long-term success, signaling that the team is taking steps in the right direction rather than stagnating. Looking at the schedule for 2026, it's clear the Raiders face a mix of formidable opponents at home and on the road. Denver, Kansas City, and Los Angeles Chargers will always be tough divisional matchups. And then there's the challenge of facing teams like Buffalo, Miami, the Rams, and the Seattle Seahawks. Some games are especially high stakes, like taking on the Titans, who are currently struggling, but any matchup in the NFL can turn quickly. Road games against Arizona, New England, and New York come with their own set of pressures and unknowns. The Raiders have to balance preparation, youth development, and strategic planning to maximize their chances against all opponents, home or away. There's no doubt the schedule demands focus, but it also offers the opportunity to build momentum and create signature wins that define the season. As we keep our eyes on coaching changes across the league, it's notable how active the offseason is becoming. Kevin Stefanski and Raheem Morris have both been relieved of their duties, creating openings in several head coaching positions. For the Raiders, this means the job is more attractive than ever. #1 draft pick, cap flexibility, and a roster with cornerstone players like Max Crosby and Brock Bowers. Bringing in a strong head coach now could accelerate the team's development, transforming potential into performance. The decision at the top matters more than ever because the right leadership can align the front office, coaching staff, and players toward shared vision. Even if immediate Super Bowl contention isn't realistic, the direction the Raiders take this offseason could set up sustained competitiveness and establish a culture of accountability and excellence. Meanwhile, the playoffs have given fans a taste of what to expect from high-stakes football, with thrilling matchups across both conferences. Games like Steelers versus Ravens showcase just how intense the final quarters can be, where every possession, every call, and every play can shift momentum and define playoff dreams. Watching the Eagles, 49ers, Patriots, and Chargers compete adds another layer of anticipation for what's coming next, not just for the teams involved, but for how those results impact draft positioning, coaching decisions, and strategic moves for the offseason. Fans are already planning, analyzing, and discussing how each scenario could unfold. And for Raiders supporters, this means keeping an eye on every detail to ensure the team capitalizes on opportunities while addressing weaknesses. The combination of coaching speculation, draft strategy, and roster planning paints a picture of a franchise in transition. There's a sense of urgency because the NFL never pauses. The offseason is already underway, and every decision made now ripples into the next season. The potential for acquiring Brian Flores and Brian Daboll is exciting, but it's just one piece of a larger puzzle. The Raiders must also consider young talent development, free agent acquisitions, and internal alignment to ensure that when the 2026 season begins, the team is ready to compete. From the number 1 overall pick to the rotation of later-round selections, every decision carries weight, and the coaching staff will play a pivotal role in integrating these pieces effectively. With so many moving parts, the atmosphere among fans is electric. Optimism, curiosity, and cautious excitement coexist because while there's confidence in the team's trajectory, there's also recognition that change is inevitable and decisions carry risk. The Raiders are positioned to take bold steps, but they must do so strategically, ensuring that the foundation they build now translates into long-term success. With the draft, off-season moves, and potential coaching hires all aligned, this period could mark the beginning of a significant turning point for the franchise, one that sets the stage for years of growth, competitive play, and Raider pride. Now, shifting gears, let's talk about the deeper layers of the Raiders' future, because it's not just about coaching hires or draft positions. It's about building a culture that can sustain winning over multiple seasons. One of the most intriguing aspects of this offseason is the balance between young talent and proven veterans. Fernando Mendoza, as the number 1 overall pick, brings enormous potential, but he will need the right environment to thrive. That means pairing him with experienced leaders, both on the field and on the sidelines, who can guide his development without putting unrealistic pressure on him. The goal is to cultivate confidence while teaching resilience, making sure he's prepared for every situation the NFL throws at him. Alongside Mendoza, players like Dante Moore and other emerging stars could form the backbone of a team that is exciting not just for the 2026 season, but for years to come. It's about setting a foundation, establishing routines, and creating a culture where young players know they have a pathway to contribute immediately while continuing to grow. The coaching staff plays a huge role in this process. If Brian Flores is brought in as head coach, his approach to defense and team discipline could reshape the identity of the Raiders. Flores has a reputation for demanding accountability, pushing players to maximize their potential, and creating a system that makes it difficult for opponents to find weaknesses. Pairing him with someone like Brian Daboll, whose offensive mind has produced some of the league's most efficient and dynamic quarterbacks, would give the Raiders a strategic edge across both sides of the ball. It's a combination that addresses multiple needs simultaneously, developing young talent on offense while establishing a relentless, adaptable defense that can win close games and make momentum-shifting plays. The synergy between head coach and offensive coordinator could very well define how quickly the Raiders can return to playoff contention and how sustainable their success will be once they get there. Looking at the broader landscape of the league, the Raiders are entering a highly competitive environment. Divisional rivals like the Chiefs and Chargers are formidable, and the Broncos are coming off a strong season. Every matchup carries weight, not just for the standings, but for the confidence of the team as it transitions into a new era. Away games against teams like the Patriots and Jets will test the adaptability of both the coaching staff and young players, forcing them to execute under pressure and learn to adjust to different styles of play. In this context, every practice, every scheme adjustment, and every player development decision becomes crucial. The Raiders have a chance to shape a team that can compete week in and week out, rather than relying on individual moments of brilliance to carry the season. The offseason strategy is equally critical. The Raiders' 10 picks across 7 rounds provide an opportunity to address key positions, strengthen depth, and prepare for unexpected challenges during the season. Managing the salary cap effectively while bringing in new talent will allow the team to maintain flexibility and make moves that reinforce the core identity they want to establish. For example, using later-round picks strategically could provide role players who contribute immediately, while also leaving room to explore trade opportunities that could strengthen the roster even further. Every move in the offseason signals to the league what the Raiders' priorities are: building a balanced roster, developing future stars, and maintaining the competitive edge needed to rise in one of the NFL's toughest divisions. The Raiders fan base has every reason to be excited but also cautious, because transitions like this require patience and clear vision. There will be highs and lows, surprises, and unexpected challenges, but the combination of a top draft pick, strategic acquisitions, and a potentially strong coaching staff sets the stage for meaningful progress. What makes this period particularly interesting is how all these pieces intersect. Coaching decisions, player development, draft strategy, and schedule dynamics all interact to shape not just the upcoming season, but the identity of the team for years ahead. For Raiders supporters, that means every training camp, preseason game, and roster announcement carries significance, because they represent the building blocks of a future that fans can rally behind. As we look forward, it's also important to consider the mental and emotional aspects of this transition. Young players like Mendoza will face the pressures of being franchise cornerstones, and the leadership of veterans will be essential in guiding them through those challenges. The right coaching staff can instill a sense of accountability, resilience, and adaptability, ensuring that the team remains competitive even in the face of adversity. This is not just about X's and O's. It's about culture, preparation, and developing a mindset that can carry a franchise through both short-term challenges and long-term growth. A cohesive, motivated team with a clear vision can often outperform teams with more raw talent but less structure, and that is the opportunity the Raiders have right now. The potential coaching hires and off-season decisions also intersect with fan expectations and league perception. Bringing in a high-profile defensive mind like Flores could signal to the NFL that the Raiders are serious about returning to prominence, while pairing him with Dable on offense indicates a commitment to maximizing the potential of their young quarterback. Every decision sends a message about the team's priorities, philosophy, and readiness to compete. In a league where perception matters almost as much as performance, the Raiders have an opportunity to reshape the narrative around the franchise and set a tone that resonates both internally and externally. Beyond the immediate decisions, the Raiders also need to plan for sustainable growth. That includes cultivating a scouting pipeline, strengthening player development systems, and creating an environment where young talent can thrive without feeling overwhelmed. Mendoza, Moore, and other young players need consistent coaching, mentorship, and clear pathways to success, and the right staff can provide that guidance. Strategic roster moves, thoughtful draft selections, and careful management of resources like the salary cap all contribute to an environment where potential can translate into consistent performance. The 2026 season could be the start of a multi-year project that not only turns the team into a contender, but establishes a culture and identity that persists for decades. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The rumor mill around the Raiders exploded after whispers began circulating that Gino Smith has made it clear, behind closed doors, that he refuses to share a locker room with a certain player ever again. Sources close to the situation described the tension as deep, personal, and far from a simple disagreement on the field. While no official names have been confirmed, the alleged rift is already being described internally as a breaking point for the organization. According to people familiar with the conversations, Smith felt repeatedly undermined during key moments, both in preparation and in-game communication. What started as subtle friction reportedly grew into open frustration, with trust eroding week by week. The quarterback, known for his calm public demeanor, is said to have delivered a blunt message to team decision-makers. If that player remains central to the project, his own future with the Raiders becomes highly questionable. The Raiders, already navigating an unstable phase, now face a delicate balancing act. Smith is viewed by many inside the building as a stabilizing presence and a leader capable of steering a retooling roster. Losing him, or forcing an uneasy coexistence, could send shockwaves through a locker room that has struggled to find consistency and identity. At the same time, the unnamed player involved is also believed to have strong backing, making any decision politically and financially complicated. What makes the situation even more volatile is the perception that this conflict reflects broader issues within the franchise. Multiple insiders hint that communication breakdowns, clashing egos, and unclear hierarchies have fueled this crisis. Smith's stance is being interpreted not only as a personal line in the sand, but as a symptom of deeper organizational unrest. For now, the Raiders remain silent, publicly projecting unity while privately weighing their options. But if the rumors hold true, this is more than locker room gossip. It is a power struggle that could reshape the team's direction, with Geno Smith's refusal serving as the catalyst for a major shakeup that few saw coming. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.